All right, time for some practice with our new variable creation tool. So here's what I like to do. Take that same construction data set that you had before, just use data construction to reload it into your environment if you made some changes to it. Here is what I would like you to do. First, I'm going to mutate a new variable called average, or AVG, that adds Northeast, Midwest, South, and West, all those columns together, and then divides by 4. The difficulty of taking the mean here, by the way, you can't just say mean of these 4 columns, it won't work. The difficulty of doing this illustrates why we might want tidy data. This data is not tidy. There is, I think, a row means variable function, but don't use that. Just do this manually. Anyway, then once you've done that, I want you to rename that variable from AVG to price average, noting the space in the variable name. Use some backticks to allow that to happen. Once you've done that, I want you to mutate a new variable called first half that is called first half for the first 6 months of the year and second half for the second half. Use case when to get this to work. And also you could use in to check whether it's in the first half of the year or not, or less than or equal to, but try maybe using row number, just see how that works out for you. Lastly, I want you to group by the first half variable and then summarize to get the mean of price average by the different groups. So pause the video and go ahead and try that out. And then when you come back, I will show you how I would do these things. All right, so let's do this. So let's start by loading up that construction data again. Construction, let's look at it as we like to do. Great, that's what it looks like. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to mutate our new variable average, which is going to be the sum of those 4 columns, and then we're going to divide by 4. So we're going to do, what was it? Northeast plus Midwest. Nope. Midwest with a capital M, plus South, plus West. Divide by 4. Let's make sure that worked properly. Let's run that. Oh, it's cutting it off. Let's save this and check the result. So let's do new construction. Check that out. Okay, it looks like the average seems to have worked properly. Great. All right, next step. Rename that variable to price average. So we're going to do rename. I'm going to use backticks. Price average is the average variable that we just created. Let's check that once again. Great. Now it's called price average with a space in it. Good. Next, we're going to mutate a variable called first half. That's first half for the first 6 months and second half for the second half. So let's do mutate. What do we call it? First half. We're going to use case when to do this. So I'm going to use some if-then statements. So if we look at our data here, we're going to use the first 6 rows. So basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if it's in the first 6 rows, we're good to go. I could use in and do in January, February, March, April, May, June. That feels like a lot of work. I happen to know the structure of the data, so I can save myself some time. If I wasn't looking at the data, I wouldn't know how to save this time. So if the row number is less than or equal to 6, oops, I need the row number function, there we go. Then use the tilde there to give me first half, comma. For the next row, we got row, I could say row number is greater than 6, or I could just recognize that everything else is going to want to be second half, so I'll just say true. And that will give me second half. Either way works fine, so let's take a look at that. Great, first half, first half, first half, first half, goes all the way up to June, perfect, and then second half after that. Okay, then finally, I want to group by the first half variable and then summarize to get the mean of price average by groups. Let's group by our first half variable. And then we're going to summarize. We're going to get the, let's keep the variable. So with summarize, you want to give it a new variable name. I'm just going to keep it the same. But a new variable name, I mean you want to name the variable. I'm just going to keep it the same name. I'll do the mean of price average. I need to keep those backticks in when I'm referring to the variable as well. So if I do all of this, we should get 2 rows. That's already looking good because I have 2 different values of first half. So I should have 2 rows after I group by and summarize. And I indeed get the average price in those 2 cases. All right, so that is how we can use some of our variable creation tools and some practice in doing so.